of the future, 2 decades from now, traveled back in time to today, they'd probably chuckle at how we use USB sticks and flash drives, the same way we wonder how we ever survived with floppy disks. All this and more in the lineup for today's episode inside the Techno Shop at the Osu Mall, and we'll be discussing the evolution of storage devices. I am your host, Matilda Frimpong, and this is Tech TV. We'll be right back after Tech Flash.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Brian. It's Monday. Are you going to the office?
Yes.
Great. This will take 24 minutes.
Please turn on the radio.
Playing Kiss FM. You have a new WhatsApp message from Sarah Rocca. Would you like to hear it?
Yes, please.
The message is, meet for lunch today? Do you want to reply?
Yes. Send? Cool, 12:30 at Soho House.
I got, cool, 12:30 at Soho House. Should I send this message?
Yes, please.
Done.
Chris, I'm running late. Please call Peter.
You have 3 contacts with the name Peter. Which Peter would you like to call? Peter Abraham, Peter Mayer, Peter Wolf. Okay, calling Peter Wolf. There's a traffic jam ahead, causing a 10-minute delay. You can save 5 minutes with an alternative route.
Okay, please take the alternative route.
Okay, please take the next left turn.
Welcome back from Tech Flash. If you just tuned in, you're watching Tech TV. And in the lineup for today's episode, we're discussing the evolution of storage devices. I am here with Mr. Desmond Niboy, the creative director of Indigen9 and a tech enthusiast. Hi, Desmond. Good to have you on the show.
Hi, it's always fun to hang out with you.
So can you tell us a little bit about Indigen9?
So we are a full 360 creative consultancy, which means we're working with some of the big ad agencies in Ghana, as well as like individual or independent brands that come to us for our creative services. Yeah.
Okay, but what are your processes? What are your procedures?
Okay, so as a creative consultancy, what we do is help these companies bring their marketing strategies to life. They dream stuff. We are like the conveyor belt to take them from point A to point B.
So where do storage devices factor into all of this?
Okay, so what we do is all digital. Now everything is digital. So whether you film in a commercial, you recording a radio ad, whatever you are doing, even the design work that we do, everything sits on some kind of storage device. And for us, it's very important because you have to be able to archive these things very well so that you can refer to them when the client needs it. So yeah, that's how critical storage devices are to what we do.
We've come a long way from floppy disks, and now we're using hard drives. Even I heard there's a Wi-Fi external.
Exactly, that's how far we've come.
Yeah, so what is your take on that?
Yeah, these days, technology is evolving at a breakneck speed. So just like you mentioned, it wasn't 10 years, just about 10 years ago, we were using the floppy disks, and we were really excited to be able to copy stuff on the floppy disks and be able to transfer to our friends and, that sort of thing. And now we are at a point where we have even wireless sort of drives.
Sorry to cut you, but how does the wireless work exactly?
The wireless is the latest development in storage devices, especially the portable storage devices. It works just like your Bluetooth and your infrared. Bluetooth was a development, like an advancement from infrared. That's the same thing we are doing. I think it's using the wireless technology that your phone uses. You can send media files from one phone to the other using your wireless. So that's the same thing that has been adapted to storage devices these days. Basically, we are doing away with the cable so that you can have your portable device in your bag and still be able to wirelessly transfer data onto it. But it's early days yet, so it's still in development. the thing about data transfer is that you want it to be fast. That's why we have our portable device. You want it to be fast, and this one is just, it's something that's been developed. So just like we've gotten SSDs to be really fast these days, like now, wireless is something that's in development. So hopefully the next few years, we will see almost all the storage devices being used as wireless devices, and then the speed will be able to keep up with the pace of work that we are doing. That's what we hope, but that's what happens. That's why technology is exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I'm yet to get an external.
Okay.
So what are some of the things that you would tell someone who doesn't have an external or a storage device? What are some of the things you tell the person to look out for in getting a storage device?
Okay, so and that's one of the things that sometimes not baffles me, but people get into trouble and then maybe they call me, because those that know I'm a tech enthusiast will call me and seek advice, but after they've made their mistakes. So these things are varied. Like there's a wide range of storage devices, and you have to consider certain factors, especially what you are going to do with it, even what occupation you are in deciding on what storage device to get. So for instance, the one mistake that people make a lot is those who have like even their smartphones and they want to be recording videos on their smartphone, because if you are going to be recording video, you need to consider the speed of the card, external what do you call it, card, SD card that you are getting. If I should get into the details of that, from class 1 to class 5 are ideal only for photography. So in case you want to expand the storage capacity on your mobile phone and you intend to record smooth, like the battery sort of smooth video, then you should get something between class 8 and class 10. So that's the fundamental mistake that people make.
But you know, people don't really consider the speed in getting storage devices.
the
They
problem.
always look out for, let's say, how the capacity and then the durability. So, for instance, I am yet to get an external. I want one that's durable. How will I know that maybe external A is more durable than external B?
Okay, this is something that you should also consult when you go to get them from like the dedicated shops, like the tech shops. When you go, you should tell them what you need it for, because there are different builds, like I said, for different purposes. There is one that's slick, it's meant to be housed in a hard drive case or something. Like in your case, if you want something durable, you have to consult them. But I know Rugged is one of the makers of durable hard drives. Western Digital has a range of hard drives that are also suited for that, as well as Western Digital as well. Okay, so I think the best thing to do is when you are in there, try to consult and tell them, you know what, I'm into construction, or I usually drop my hard drives a lot, so please can you advise which one I should get? Okay, but then knowing that there are these options is a good place to start.
So for someone who is now getting an external device, what is the basic kind of information you're going to give to the person?
Okay, I think the number one thing to look out for is capacity. And then you have to be really careful if you are used to storing your stuff on like a stationary machine, be it a laptop or even a desktop, to carrying these portable devices around, because they are very volatile. You have to consider their volatility. Once you drop a storage device, you may lose, it depends on what you are keeping in there. But if you intend to keep like really critical stuff on there, then please start with like the small 256 gigabytes before you move to the 1 terabyte and the 4 terabytes and even the 6 terabytes these days. Because if you don't take care and you pile all your critical information onto these things, you might break them. So if you are now considering getting a storage device or even a portable storage device, I would say go try getting the small capacities, and then once you are used to keeping storage devices or keeping portable external storage devices, you can upgrade and start getting the 1 terabytes and the likes.
So since we're talking about the evolution of storage devices, where do you see us, let's say 5 years from now? What do you think would still be using the external, the pen drive? Like 10 years ago, we're using the floppy disk, and now it's nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
It can be found, sorry, but then it's like extinct, sort of. But then, so 5 years from now, do you think we'll still be using pen drives and externals?
I think the flash drives, basically pen drives are the flash technology of storage devices. That's flash in the sense that it has these microchips or transistors. They are used to store the data that you put on them, instead of the decks in the 3.5-inch hard drives that we are used to. these days there is flash and there is even the SSD. So I see we would continue to use like the flash drives for a very long time. What manufacturers are working on right now is making them faster, you know, the data read and the write speed, getting them to come to par with the 3.5 DISC implementation of hard drives. So definitely, I'm sure, I mean, technology is a cunning thing. You never know what's going to hit you in the next 1 or 2 years.
Recently, I was reading an article online about DNA being like a storage sort of device. I didn't really understand what it was trying to say, but it was something about maybe a microchip being placed in your DNA, and then you'd be able to receive health care and stuff like that. And it's actually also a storage device because it's taking track of whatever is going on in your system and all that. So it's like, it's really amazing the things that technology is able to achieve right now.
Technology is a fascinating thing, and you know, manufacturers are constantly looking for ways to improve our very existence, and these hard drives and storage devices are getting smaller and smaller. There's now even a Samsung, what they call Flash X. It's actually a new technology, SSD, that's just about 8 centimeter wide. So something as small as that, and just like you said, if they can get it really small, now then they can implant it in your skin to be able to store some of the data that your skin or your body provides for the purposes of healthcare. So it's something that we hope to see a lot more of. I know there are people who have their reservations because it's more akin to the 666 thing that...
Yeah, I was gonna...
I think, I mean, some of these things get in the way of development and advancement of the human race. I think we should just allow that.
No, I think that's maybe a topic for another. Because if I decide to go into that, I might not even finish. So thank you very much for coming on the show, Desmond. Hope to see you again soon.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Always a pleasure.
Yes, so viewers, I'm sure you learned a lot about the evolution of storage devices. Stay tuned. Welcome back. We're now moving on to my favorite part of the show, which is passion for technology. Stay tuned and enjoy.
My name is Ben Adi Kiwia. I was born in Arusha. I went to schools here in Arusha. My father is mechanics and my mother is a tailor. So my father buys a used car, take apart and use the spare parts for reselling them. And my mother, she's good in making clothes, so she buy fabrics and make clothes. My parents doing those kind of stuffs. And I think that is what inspired me to become like an inventor. And I remember like when I was in primary schools, our teacher used to take us out for the factory and a biscuit company. It was very interesting because you see how those biscuits made. Like you see them moving, the machines have a number of moving parts. And for me, it was very interesting to see how they mix flours and how they cut biscuits and how they dry them and how they pack them. So since that time, I think of myself like how people they made this machine. When I started that kind of works, everybody was like in the street or at home. They were surprising to see, hey, this machine or this device is good. How do you learn how to make this? From that point, I started like, maybe instead of buying, just buying something ready-made, let me start making my stuffs, because people are very interested. If you make things, they really like it. Then from that, I started using the bike parts, remaining bike frames, making like chairs and all kind of furnitures from bike scraps. In our country, like Tanzania, mostly when you have scrap metals, what they do is they recycle them. Just bring those metals to the factory and melt them to make new metals. But for me, I do the different, because I do recycling by making another thing. So if I have the bike frames, I can switch them to furniture. Now what I'm doing is I've started a program helping students in primary schools now, so they can learn how to make stuff. So I've started a program of helping students from standard 5 to 7 to be creative.
Hi, this is my home where you can see most of my invention. Karibu, welcome. In this community, we don't have running water from the sea. So what people do is they dig wells to collect the water. But for me, I just built this machine. It's made out of bicycle parts. And how it works is you just pedal it and you can take water from the well to my home. This is solar water heater made out of recycling material. Inside there's a black tubes. These are fluorescent tubes. When they burn from electricity, people throw them. But what I do, I just collect them and attach to this device. On top here there's a glass. Inside there's shining material, is a kitchen foil. When you come to this part, inside there's a plastic water container. These two sides there's a food plates. And just outside here is a roofing sheet. This device can warm water up to 75 centigrade. So it helps my family and myself to have the hot water in our house. This is a cool box where you can keep the vegetable for at least 1 week fresh. Outside there's water carriers that will let the box outside wet and inside cold. So if you open it, you can see the tomatoes are very fresh. Maybe I'll try this one. Yeah, I like it. Very nice. Mambo. Vipi? Natoka wapi? Naenda nyumbani. Tano basi.
Welcome back from Passion for Technology. There are people doing amazing things in the technological space, and Tech TV brings these things straight to your doorstep by giving them the platform. We're going for a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back from the break. If you just tune in, you're watching Tech TV, and we're going for our next segment, which is safety tips. Now, in handling gadgets, there are always some safety tips to know and to ensure that your gadgets last and are durable for you. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back after safety tips.
You can only use a mobile phone while driving if it is secured in a commercial manufactured and designed mountain that is fixed to the vehicle and doesn't obscure the view of the road, or if you can operate it without touching any part of the phone, for example by using Bluetooth headset or voice activation. While driving, a mobile phone cannot rest on your legs or in between your shoulder and ear or any other part of your body. It must not be used for text messaging, video messaging and emailing or similar activities. Drivers should only use handheld mobile phones if their vehicle is parked in an authorized parking spot with the engine turned off. They should not use a handheld mobile phone while stopped at a traffic light. Drivers may use the navigational or GPS function of the phone while driving as long as the phone is secured in a fixed mountain. Learners and provisional P1 drivers must not use any function of a mobile phone while driving or when the ignition is on.
Welcome back from Safety Tips. If you just tune in, you're watching Tech TV and I'm your host, Matilda Frimpong. In today's discussion, we spoke about the evolution of storage devices, and I'm sure you picked a lot of tips and measures in handling your various storage devices and technological gadgets. You can follow Tech TV on our various social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube. It's been fun hanging out with you all. See you soon.